When last we left the children in chapter 9, an old lady had come from, she had been disguised as a parrot. The Animorph books in our library talk about people's ability to change into animals, and the Harry Potter books talk about people being able to change into animals. So this is not new to literature. Let's find out what happens in chapter 10. And our new vocabulary words for chapter 10 include enchant, to cast a magic spell, a librarian, person in charge of a book collection. Oh, wait, that's me. Scribe, someone who writes with pen or pencil. A prefix appears before the root word to change the meaning. A suffix appears after the root word to change the meaning. Prefix is before, suffix is after. Chapter 10, Treasure Again. Annie finally found her voice. The M person, she whispered. Yes, I'm the M person, said Morgan. Where are you from? Asked Jack. Have you ever heard of King Arthur? Said Morgan. Jack and Annie nodded yes. Well, I was King Arthur's sister, said Morgan. You're from Camelot? Said Jack. We read that book about castles and knights, and I've read about Camelot, too. What did you read about me? Asked Morgan. That you're a witch, Jack answered. Morgan smiled and said, You can't believe everything you read. But you are a magician, asked Annie. Most call me an enchantress, but I'm also a librarian, said Morgan. A librarian? Questioned Annie. Yes, I've come to your time to collect books. You are lucky to live in a time when there are so many books. For the Camelot Library? Asked Jack. Exactly, said Morgan. I can travel in this treehouse to collect books from many different times and places around the world. Did you find books here? Asked Jack. Oh, yes, I found many wonderful books. I borrow them for our scribes to copy. Did you put bookmarks in them? Asked Jack. Yes, because I like the pictures in some of the books. I want to visit the scenes in the pictures. So the bookmarks indicate the places where I wish to go. How do you travel to those places? Asked Annie. I placed a spell on the treehouse, said Morgan. When I point to a picture and make a wish, the treehouse takes me there. Now don't forget about multiple meaning words, like the word spell. It can mean a magical enchantment, or it can mean to put letters of a word into the correct order. And of course we have a homophone up here in the first part of this. Scenes, right? Or scene means a time and a place. Or seen can be to have looked. And here's a perfect example of a word with a prefix, MIS. And the prefix MIS means the opposite of something. So outlined in yellow it says misplaced. So that means you've placed it oppositely. In other words, you've lost something, misplaced it. Placed it wrongly. I think you dropped this in the dinosaur times, said Jack. He handed the medallion to Morgan. Oh, thank you. I wondered where I had misplaced it, she said. Morgan put the medallion in a pocket in her cloak. Can anybody work the spell? Asked Annie. Oh, dear, no, not just anybody, Morgan said. You are the only ones besides me to do it. Nobody else has ever even seen my treehouse. Is it invisible? Asked Annie. Yes, said Morgan. I had no idea it would ever be discovered until you came along. Somehow you looked right through my magic. How? Asked Jack. I think for two reasons, explained Morgan. First, Annie believes in magic, so she was the one who actually saw the treehouse first, and her belief convinced you to see it too, Jack. Then you picked up a book. Because you love books so much, you caused my magic spell to work. Wow, said Annie. You can't imagine how upset I was when you took off for dinosaur times. I had to make a very quick decision. I decided to come along with you. So you were the pteranodon, said Annie, and you were the cat and the knight and Polly too. Morgan smiled and said softly, Yes. You were all those things to help us? Asked Jack. Yes, but I must go home now. The people in Camelot need my help. So you're leaving? Whispered Annie. I'm afraid that I must, answered Morgan. She picked up the backpack and handed it to Jack. Annie picked up their raincoats. You won't forget us, will you? Asked Annie as they put on their raincoats. Never, answered Morgan. She smiled at them. You remind me so much of myself, Annie. You love the impossible. And Jack, you love knowledge. What better combination is there? Morgan touched Annie's forehead gently, and then she softly stroked Jack's cheek. Goodbye, she said. Goodbye, said Annie and Jack together. Annie left the treehouse first. Jack followed. They climbed down the rope ladder for the last time. They stood below the oak tree and looked up. Morgan looked out the window. Her long white hair blew in the light breeze. Then the wind began to blow harder. The leaves began to shake. A loud whistling sound filled the air. Jack covered his ears. They both squeezed their eyes shut. Then everything was quiet. When the noise stopped, they opened their eyes. Then they stood still a moment, staring up at the empty oak tree. Annie sighed. Let's go, she said softly. Jack just nodded. He felt too sad to speak. As they started walking home, he put his hands in his pockets and felt something. Jack pulled out the golden medallion. Look, he said. How did this get here? Morgan must have put it there, Annie said. But how? Asked Jack. Magic, answered Annie. I think it means that she'll be coming back someday. Jack smiled. He clutched the medallion as he and Annie walked through the woods. The rain stopped and the sun shined through the trees. Leaves, branches, puddles, bushes, grass, and vines all glinted like jewels or like shiny gold. Annie had been right, thought Jack, when she had said to forget the treasure chest. They had treasure at home. Another little bit of history for you. The founder of North Carolina, Sir Walter Raleigh, was an English patriot, explorer, and Queen Elizabeth's friend. He captained a warship and helped defeat the Spanish Armada, which was trying to invade England. He sailed to the New World twice and had a royal license to explore and colonize Virginia and the Carolinas. He sent people to settle on Roanoke Island, known as the Lost Colony. The capital of North Carolina is named Raleigh. But Sir Walter Raleigh was also a privateer, which means a pirate who has a license to attack the ships of an enemy nation. England was at war with Spain. English privateers captured Spanish treasure ships in the Caribbean Sea. Sir Francis Drake, another famous English privateer, visited the Lost Colony. But England and Spain made peace, and Raleigh was executed as a pirate. Some more history for you. Thanks for listening.